All right, and here is my spoiler review for the movie Captain America 3 Civil War. Oh my goodness. This movie had tons of stuff for all you Marvel fans. Okay, right from the get-go, just like what I thought about Captain America Winter Soldier. Captain America 2, The Winter Soldier. I thought it shouldn't have been named Winter Soldier because Winter Soldier was like sort of like an extra or a side note to that film, and it should have been called something cheesier. I don't know, like The Rise of Hydra or Hail Hydra or The Threat Within or something cheesy. I know, but it was too cheesy, and the Winter Soldier title would have attracted more. Just like this movie, the Civil War title, I think drew a lot of Marvel fans to it because simply because you're very familiar with the Civil War, you get a lot of fighting, and to a certain extent, that's what the movie was about. But when the movie plays out, you get to realize that the Civil War aspect of this, that the whole registration or not registration, police the Avengers or not police the Avengers, that whole debate on that just played a secondary or background role to the whole conflict of the film. And you get to see that, I think, Marvel, if I'm not you know what? I have this strange feeling that they had a different title for this movie. That the whole conflict of this film was really Iron Man versus Captain America. And incidentally, there was something like that in the comic books. They call it Civil War, but it's more than that. It's not just about, should we police the Avengers or not. Yes, that was the initial conflict, but this is more than that. When the movie plays out, wait, this is a spoiler review, right? Captain America needs to do something. He thinks what he's doing is right. He's doing something for his friend Bucky. He's trying to help Bucky. Bucky, who's his friend, his brother, his family. He will do anything in your power, even disobey the law, for your family, for your wife, for your brother, for your sister, your child. You will go to the ends of the earth. You don't care about the law because you think in your conscience you are doing the right thing by saving that friend or that family member. And that's what Cap is doing. Now Iron Man plays the role of police, and he's like, and again, as I said, the Sokovia Concord, whatever, the Sokovia Treaty, Sokovia Concords, whatever they call it, like that. It's like the whole idea was there was going to be a panel, a UN panel, that's going to decide the missions for the Avengers, and the Avengers can't do anything. And Tony thinks that that's the right thing to do. He's trying to be the police so that lives will be spared because in their time of being an independent body of the Avengers, a clandestine group Avengers, so many people have died, and it hits him. Early on in the film, a mother tells him that you killed my son in Sokovia, and he just piles up. The guilt piles up, and he's full of himself. He's an egotistic guy. He feels like he's the Messiah, sent God sent to save humanity, and he's failing at being the Messiah because people hate him for killing people. So to avoid any more bloodshed, police the Avengers, less risk, less. He's trying to be the self-righteous police, like everything's black and white. And he's trying to tell Cap, do things by the book. You want to help your friend? Let's do it by the book. Bring him in. It's like a typical movie. The hero is not gonna go and turn himself into. You've seen those movies. The hero just goes out on his quest, forgets the cops. The cop will always, like The Fugitive or, what was that other film? Uh, it's kind of, anyway. When the good guys, they they never listen to the cops. The cops will always say, turn yourself in. That's the only way I'm going to help you, if you turn yourself in. And the good guys will always go out of their way and like, like, what was that? Taken. That's the movie I was thinking. Taken. Like, Taken 3. He's Liam Neeson's never going to turn himself to the cops. He's going to take matters in his own hands and do the right thing. That's how Cap is. And Iron Man is like the good cop, trying to be good, trying to put things. He did try to do that with Ultron. He failed. Now he's trying to do it now again, trying to turn the Avengers over to the UN. He's failed miserably. So, what? Going into the film, I was for Team Iron Man. But coming out of the film, I'm turning out to be a Team Cap. And you have to understand this movie is still a Captain America film. And everybody's retired. The only real Avengers, the official Avengers, are the ones on Team Cap. And Iron Man's supposed to be retired. Well, Hawkeye was on Team Cap, but he's supposed to be retired. Black Widow on Team Iron Man. She was supposed to be in the wind trying to track down our own lead. So, a lot of people, including myself, had the impression this was Avengers 2.5, but it's not. It's really a Captain America film, and he has to make a decision. I love that. Uh, and you know what? It doesn't become as clear cut as who's right and who's wrong. And that's what Marvel was trying to do. And I think they did a good job with that. Okay, going back to the action. As I mentioned in my non spoiler review, the action was amazing. Spider Man. Oh my god, he is part of the Avengers. I could not believe it. I thought he was going to do a cameo, swing here and there. But oh my god, that fight scene in that hangar. He kicked some ass, and it was great to have a very young Spider-Man, less drama. He was having all these quips, all these side comments, and oh my god, Spider-Man, that's how Spider-Man should be. And thank goodness Sony was able to compromise with Marvel, and we're all just waiting for Fox to stop being a jerk and compromise with Marvel. But anyway, great role in Spider-Man. And the second end credit scene is all about Spider-Man. I don't want to spoil too much, but you got to sit through two end credit scenes. The first major credits is about the Black Panther. It's what happened. It's like an epilogue of what happens in the end. We'll get to that in a while. And they're in Wakanda. The second, if you stay all the way through the final credits, the second one is Peter Parker back in his room talking to Aunt May, and he's getting his upgrades, and it's setting up the Spider-Man film. The first one was setting up the Black Panther film and a little bit of not so much the Avengers 3, but you get the idea. It's going to be Avengers 3. Okay, so a lot of action. Black Panther, oh my goodness, another character. It's like Black Panther and Spider-Man were the superstars in the action scenes, of course, but in the whole film it was really Cap and Iron Man. And Black Panther is like Snake Eyes meets Iron Man meets, oh my god, I can't even describe it. I'm sorry, okay? You all know I'm a Marvel fanboy, but oh my god. And I don't mean to keep gushing, but Black Panther was just amazing. I think perfectly executed. I think Chad Boseman did a wonderful. Was that his name, Chad Boseman? Or I thought he did a wonderful job. Was it Chad Boseman or the one from Salt? No, not Chad Boseman. The guy from Salt. I can't remember his name, but whoever he is, he did a phenomenal job as T'Challa, and you get to see the king T'Chaka die, and that's in the comic books. You get to see a lot of references in the comic books. Going back to the Avengers, you get Vision, you get Scarlet Witch. There's a lot of tension. Like, you get to see Vision sort of falling in love with Scarlet Witch very subtly. You get to see Scarlet Witch becoming an Avenger of her own. Just amazing. We don't see Quicksilver, so I guess Quicksilver is really dead. And I was afraid coming to the movie that somebody was gonna die. Thankfully, nobody died. War Machine, you get to see in the trailer, he falls. He doesn't die. He just gets a little bit crippled. No pun intended. He gets a little bit of a paralysis, but Stark Tech is going to fix that. And in the comic books, there's so many times that Rhodey gets injured, even dies, or gets severely mauled or whatever, like he becomes a cyborg. So it was part of it. Another reference to the comic books. Not necessarily all Civil War references, but a lot of references to the Avengers comic books. And another thing, we get General Ross. General Ross completes the circle of the Hulk. And you know what? If you see the Edward Norton Hulk, and that to me, I don't know if it's a signal that the rights to the single movie Hulk are just a few more months away from being reverted to Marvel, and Universal Studios is not going to put up a fight, and I cannot wait for that. So it's come full circle. Another character from the Hulk universe has appeared in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, so that is great, and I hope he becomes a Red Hulk. What else? You get to see Ant-Man. Ant-Man was so funny. His major scene was in that hangar. You get to see a lot of him, a bit more of him towards after 3/4 of the film when they all get imprisoned. Team Cap gets imprisoned because they lose to Iron Man. They sacrifice so that Cap and Bucky can go to Siberia and stop the bad guy. It's just that. So there's a lot of references to the comic books. There's a lot of references, not so necessarily to Civil War comic books, but to Marvel comic books. I love that. So again, this movie is a very, very smart film. It portrays, it plays out to the characters. Like it tears up the whole team, and it brings out the bad side, the good side in all of them, and there's a lot of character development. And ironically, as I said in my other non-spoiler review, the action scenes are fantastic, but it's the drama scenes, it's the talking scenes that really get you riveted, that really pin you to your seat. It's like when the action scenes come, that's when you start getting your popcorn and whatnot, and start reaching out in your chip bag. But then when the drama scenes come on, you start to listen, and you know when you do that, when the audience does that, you know you've made a very smart film. Going back to how smart this film is, you think this is just about them fighting, and there's the bad guy. The bad guy, bad guy is Baron Zemo or Colonel Zemo, and I thought he was trying to resurrect Hydra. That's the whole plot. I mean, you get the idea that he's trying to take over the world. And what he does eventually in the end is really, he's seeking revenge. And revenge for his family dying on Segovia. It might be shallow enough as it is, but what he did actually was significant. He tore the Avengers apart. And, if at all, if I'm going to critique the film, coming out of the movie, I felt like the bad guy won. There was a little bit of reconciliation. I mean, Cap, Iron Man, they had a stalemate, and Cap was sort of the one who started the healing process. He was the one who caved in, and he told Tony, "I'm sorry. We're gonna be here, but I'm sorry. We can't obey by your rules. You can't be black and white. You gotta change, Tony." And he sort of tries to teach Tony how to be an Avenger, and what it is to do the right thing. And there is some reconciliation and some healing, but I didn't think it was enough. I think, in that scene when he was being interrogated, when Zemo was being interrogated, like he says, "You failed all this. You had to go through all this length." Even that, I was very skeptical. That the guy just wanted revenge, he wanted the Avengers to fight and kill each other, but he had to go through all these lengths of setting them up, killing people, destroying other. Well, one would argue that it was a madman. He was just caught up in his idea of revenge, and he didn't care anymore. So he made the Avengers the bad guys, and then he made them fight each other. So okay, maybe that's what his intention is. And I keep, thinking that he might have succeeded. I keep thinking that at the end of the movie, that the bad guy won because he tore the Avengers apart. He split them up, and it's like he was successful in making. They didn't kill off each other, but you begin to question now: are they still a team? And I think, what? The producers of Marvel, the Russo brothers, I think they did that on purpose. Just like The Empire Strikes Back. Everybody's broken. Han is gone. Luke just lost his hand, and the enemy is actually his father. So you get that feeling that, come on, what the hell do you do now? Darth Vader's his dad? So what? Does he kill him? Well, here, you get that same heavy feeling that, man, so what now? Are they still friends? Are they still a team? How are they going to fight Thanos? That's what's happening in the back of my mind. How are they going to fight Thanos? And I think, just like how the Return of the Jedi was set up, I think the Russo brothers are setting up Avengers 3, Part 1 and Part 2. And there has to be something bigger to unite everybody. After all that's been done and said, like, ang dami na nilang pinagdaanan. Like, they've been through so much. Pinagsamahan na nila lahat ng everything bad about each other. They've everything on the table. Full disclosure of who they are, the Avengers. And I think that will unite them. And I'm thinking about it. I think that's something that was necessary to unite them, because in the first movie they got united because of Coulson's death. This one I think had to be much deeper. If they're gonna fight a big bad Thanos, like a god, a galactic cosmic god, a deity, they have to be bonded. They have to have this shared experience that will unite them and bond them as a family. And I think this is it. And I think they did a wonderful job on it. It's just that I keep feeling that maybe they should have done something cheesy in the end, like added a third end credit scene, like maybe, I don't know, this is too cheesy, but I would have accepted it. Like Steve and Tony come together in a room, and somehow Steve goes, "Tony, I know you don't want to talk to me, but Thor is back and he's got bad news." Something like that. Something cheesy, something corny, just to set up the Avengers 3 part 1, or the Infinity War part 1. I don't know. I was trying to get that, but again, it would have ruined the masterpiece that's already good. It's like they had to walk away. And okay, but to me, that would have made the movie 10 out of 10 for me. As it is, because of that feeling, the movie's gonna get a 9.5 or 9 out of 10 from me. So, great movie. It's a good watch. If you have kids, you might have to do some explaining in the middle, because there's a lot of drama, there's a lot of talking. Kids tend to get bored when there's a lot of quiet time and downtime. In an action film, in a superhero film, they're expecting a lot of fighting, bam bam here and there. But this is it's not a shallow movie. It's a deep movie, and I think it has a message. The last thing I'm going to say, no, I hope it's one of the last things I'm going to say. This movie subtly tries to inject something, a value, a moral that they subtly put into the movie, and it's all about forgiveness. In this world that's full of hate, there's very little compassion, very little mercy. Like, everybody wants what's fair, what's just, like what Iron Man says. But sometimes in a world when everything's too fair, like an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, you kill someone, he kills someone from you. The world becomes just and fair, but everybody ends up losing. Everybody ends up a loser. And in this world, there has to be some form of forgiveness. That, yes, the guy slighted you so much. It's not fair. But you gotta forgive it. You have to say that, yes, you did something bad to me, but I forgive you, and it's time to move on. And that's the thing that I think they were trying to put in here. Um, Tony could not forgive. It was very difficult to forgive. Who can blame him? But I think that's what Cap was asking. You gotta forgive. And it was very subtly put in there for reasons obvious or not so obvious. But uh, I thought that was brilliant. And I thought that was great. And you come from this movie and you think, it's just going to be bam, bam, action here and there, fighting, and then who wins, who loses. In the end, you feel like, did they win or did they lose? I know the producers and the Russo brothers, they wanted people to think whose side was correct, who was wrong, who was right. I think both of them were wrong, both of them were right. No, you know what? I think both of them were right in a way, and nobody was wrong. But I think the bigger thing here that they wanted you to think was, well, first of all, what would you do if you were in Cap's position or in Iron Man's position? How far would you go for a loved one, for a friend, for a family member? Do you do the right thing or not? And then second, the whole idea of forgiveness, because this is all we have. You come to life thinking that you have family, you're gonna live forever. You're not gonna do that. And for them, for heroes, the Avengers are all they have. So you gotta have room for forgiveness and time to move past things. And I think Captain America did that. In the comic books, he was such a jackass. He was such a self-righteous, pompous prick. And for a certain for a time, I thought the roles were reversed in the movie, and it was Cap being the bigger person, and that was interesting. So, movie is great, very deep, very emotionally loaded, thinking film, an intelligent film, I think, yes, it is truly one of Marvel's masterpieces. Great fighting, well balanced, and I cannot believe how the Russo brothers have pulled off putting so many characters in one movie and making it work. So there you go, folks. My spoiler ish review of the movie Captain America Civil War. Thanks for watching.